We are live, Mayor Pennell.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's 6:30, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone tonight. First of all, I'm going to take attendance as usual. Councillor Cross, are you here?
Here.
And Councillor Shiplin?
Present.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest. Does anyone have a written disclosure or pecuniary conflict of interest? Councillor Cross?
No, I don't.
And Councillor Shiplin?
No.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is item number 3, is petitions and delegations, and we have none tonight. After that, we have number 4, reports from municipal officers, of which we have none tonight. After that, we have number 5, reports from committees, of which there are none tonight. And then next item on the agenda is action letters. And I'll be providing some opening remarks. Okay? So this evening, I would like to welcome our 5 candidates. We had 6 initially, but Mr. Richardson has chosen to withdraw his application. So I'd like to welcome our 5 candidates who have put their names forward to fill 2 vacant council seats on council in accordance with Municipal Act 2001 for the remainder of this council's term. As you all know, being a councillor is a very important role which comes with responsibilities and duties that can be very rewarding. At the same time, it requires dedication and time commitment for reading and conducting research in order to make informed decisions about the issues that are brought before us. We are responsible to our ratepayers and the public, and we must be above reproach, be accountable for our actions, and behave professionally both in our private and personal lives. I would like to thank each of you for putting your name forward to take on this very important and valuable role for our municipality. Tonight, each candidate will be provided with up to 10 minutes to make a presentation to council about their qualifications and why they feel they should be selected as one of the new council members. While your presentations are being made, the other candidates will be placed in the virtual waiting room until it is their turn to present to council. Once the presentations are completed, I will begin asking each candidate in alphabetical order 8 identical questions, one at a time. While the other candidates are placed into a virtual waiting room, the first candidate will be asked question 1. Once they have provided their answer, they will be placed into the waiting room, and candidate 2 will be brought into the meeting and asked the same question. That will continue until all the candidates have been asked the same identical 8 questions and their answers have been provided. Council will then each vote for the chosen candidate in an open session as the municipal clerk calls the candidate's name in alphabetical order. After the first resolution is passed, I will cover some of this information again. So the reason why we're doing this is that most interviews are conducted privately, okay? But we can't do that tonight. So if there was a private interview, no one would hear anyone else's comments or remarks. So the only way you can do that tonight is use the virtual waiting room so it's fair to everyone, all right? All right, so enough of that. So we should have a resolution. So I'll need a mover and seconder for this resolution. Councillor Shiplin, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. And Councillor Cross, can you second this, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Shiplin and seconded by Councillor Cross. Be it resolved that the following candidates who have signified in writing their interest in being appointed to a vacant council seat be considered for appointment to fill such vacant seat. So we have Kim Brooker, Bart Castellan, Kenneth Ference, Richard Gould, and Sarah Homer. Is there any discussion on this, Councillor Cross?
No discussion.
Councillor Shipham?
No discussion.
Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote to proceed. Are you both in favor of proceeding with these interviews? Councillor Cross
Yes, I am.
and Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
And I am as well, so this resolution is carried. Okay, so I'm just going to go down through our agenda. And it said, please note any candidate who is not present at the start of the council meeting will be disqualified. But everyone was present, so that's good. Each candidate shall have the opportunity to address council for a period of not more than 10 minutes. The order of speaking is indicated above, and that's alphabetical order, number 1, 2, through 5. Each candidate will be asked questions from council. The same questions will be asked to each candidate, and council members will then vote in open session as the municipal clerk calls the candidates' names in alphabetical order. All right? So we're going to start with a presentation, and Kim Brooker would be first. So Cindy's going to put the other candidates in the virtual waiting room. I might add, this is the first time we've really ever done this, so we're pretty confident that it's going to work well.
Okay, all other candidates besides Ms. Brooker are in the waiting room.
All right, worked out well. So, do you have a presentation you'd like to make to council, Ms. Brooker?
I do, yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kim. I am a newly transplanted resident. I've just moved here from the Yukon, actually finished our move the end of September, but we've owned 2 properties in Kelvin and 1 property for the last 4 years. So for the last 4 years, I've been reading minutes of council meetings. I've been reading the website almost regularly, the bylaws, everything that's been going on. While I lived in the Yukon, I lived in a very small community, similar size to Kelvin, 450 people. And I was very involved in my community in the Yukon. I unfortunately couldn't become a council member because I lived about a minute outside the border of the village. So I wanted to be active, but I couldn't be a member. I couldn't even vote, actually. But what I was able to do was volunteer. But my position in the Yukon was, I worked for the Yukon government, and the Yukon government owns retail liquor stores. So I was a liquor store manager, but I was also an agent for different government departments. So I provided the services to my community. For example, corporate affairs, health and social services, motor vehicles, environment, all those different departments. I was responsible for supplying that to my community. I was also a notary public. And this was the first time I'm an entrepreneur. I've always had my own businesses up till this point. So this was the first time I'd worked in a unionized environment. And we were 5 hours away from the closest city, and we had no representation in our community. So one of my volunteer positions was I became a shop steward so that I could help out my community members and members of Yukon government. And that was eye-opening. I got a lot of education that way in how to deal with people, how to look at their positions on certain issues from a different perspective, how to allow people who didn't maybe have the same idea that I had, but how to work with them. And so look at other people's perspective and questions and comments and things like that. So it kind of opened my eyes to see things from a different point of view, not just my own. I decided to volunteer in my community because I couldn't be on council. But I was friends with most of the councilors. I knew them. I knew the mayor. Very small community. So you, as in Kelvin, you know everyone. And I don't. So in saying that, I was looking at the website and trying to immerse myself in Kelvin while I was still in the Yukon, knowing we were retiring here. I started looking at my community in Yukon and saying, what can I do there? And it made me more active there, knowing I was moving to another small community. So I was thinking I might run for council when I got here. But I also thought, no one knows me. No one knows anything about me. So in this particular situation, I think it's a great opportunity for me and for the people of Kelvin to get to know me in the 11-month period that this term will be, as opposed to me waiting and running a year from now. I don't know if it'll be easier for people to know me in that time period because of COVID and not being able to get together. So I think this is a great opportunity for me to take this short time and learn the position. I would love to stick with it, I believe. Let people get to know me. So when the next term begins next year, I'll be in a position to know people a lot better. Some of the volunteer positions I did do in the Yukon were, I was on the housing board, Yukon Housing Board, and I was asked to be on that. In my small community, they were always looking for people who were not related to everyone in the village or friends with. So because I was new, I didn't know anyone. There was a concern of nepotism in the housing board. So I was invited to join as an outsider who didn't have any commitments to friends and family and could come with a fresh eye. So I was on the housing board. I was also on the library board, the Yukon Communities Library Board. Our community didn't have a board for our library, and it was being run from a 5-hour away distance by someone who was very rarely in our small community. So I saw an opportunity to start a board, and we raised all kinds of money. We changed the hours of the library, made it more community friendly. Started children's programs, and I'm very proud of that because we raised almost $30,000 for the library through fundraisers, and I applied for a couple of grants, which we got. So it was eye-opening for me and a lot of fun, and I'm really proud of it. I also volunteered for the volunteer fire department. I was a fundraiser coordinator for them. The firemen had been doing it up until the point I joined. And in the first year, we increased donations for the volunteer firemen's ball by 60% because I was reaching out to all the businesses locally and all across the Yukon for donations for our firemen's ball. The firemen's ball has a dinner and dance and a silent auction for all the donated items. And we had, I think it was $14,000 worth of items the first year I started, and it went up from there. So I was pretty proud of that as well. I was also the photographer for the Fireman's Ball, or for the firemen, I should say, and for the community, for the village of Mayo's where I was. So I would go to all community events and take photos and help create the community calendar and different things like that with my photos. We raise money with my photos for different endeavors with the photos. I belong to an interagency committee. I was asked to join that in my small community. It was about 50% First Nation, 50% non-First Nation, and unfortunately a lot of addiction and mental health issues without a lot of support. And so the group that I joined with were the RCMP, nurses, teachers, college, the college representative and a school representative. And I was asked to join because I was doing acupuncture at the time. I am an acupuncturist, but I've retired from that. So from a healthcare perspective, but also because I was the liquor store manager. So I came at it from both angles, and we were trying to help with the addiction issue in the community. And, we had a lot of things that we were able to work out and help, and we lobbied to get another healthcare worker, mental health care and addiction worker come to our community much more frequently than we had. So I was happy to be on that as well. And then, as well as being a shop steward, there was no representation in my community when I got there as well for the Yukon government workers. So we hadn't had a local in our community for, I think, 8 years. So I was able to resurrect that in our community, and I became the president of our local. And I was in that position for 3.5 years. I stepped down just before I left and let the vice president take over so she could learn the ropes. And I've left it in really good hands now. So that was another accomplishment of mine that I thought was, as well as all my other volunteer activities, I thought would show you that I'm interested in community, in my community where I live, and in Kelvin, and that I have a lot of hours that I've put in, and I would feel the same way moving forward, wanting to help my community. Again, I say that I'm new to the community. People don't know me, but I'm here, so I would want to be involved for sure. That's
about it. Your time's pretty much up.
it. Okay, good. Well, that's about it for me then.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to put you in the waiting room now.
Sure.
And then we're going to bring Mr. Bart Kastelman in to the meeting. So thank you. Hello, Mr. Kastelman.
Hello, Mayor.
Okay. So you've got 10 minutes if you need it to address the council and provide your any remarks that you'd like to at this time. Okay?
Okay, well, I don't think I need 10 minutes, but I've written something down. If you don't mind it, I'll read it from my notes.
Yes, that's fine.
Good evening, Mayor Pennell, Councillors Cross and Shippen, and of course, Cindy. The past year has been a trying period for Council and for Kelvin as a whole, with the unfortunate resignations of several Council members, especially in a time when a full complement of Council was necessary to confront the multiple issues that may put a heavy financial burden on Kelvin and therefore the taxpayers. Some time ago, I was asked what I would counsel to do, and my answer was to maintain the status quo. I have to clarify that statement by saying that under the current financial pressures that Kelvin faces, maintaining the status quo will be all that is available with the issues facing Kelvin until such time that financial breathing room is available. Issues such as landfill planning, castle home financing, and the ever-increasing amounts required by the various boards that are mandated by the province, while provincial funding decreases every year. One of the answers, I think, to these pressures would be to increase the tax base by attracting more families and businesses to our beautiful area. The strategic plan currently under development by Kelvin must deal with and regulate these additions without adding red tape. Through my regular attendance at council meetings since 2014, I am very aware of and with the discussions and issues that are brought to council. I have not found the need in all those years to question the decisions of council often, as I was mostly in agreement with Council's decisions. I do not seek confrontation, I seek cooperation, and my opinion can be swayed by valid arguments. I am a senior citizen, and the interests of seniors in our township are dear to my heart. Us seniors are an ever-increasing segment of the population, and I think Kelvin should try promoting seniors to live in our township. I will certainly lend my voice to any idea of how to accomplish this. Council has obviously seen my expression of interest letter and have noticed that it was in the form of a resolution. That was not done as a gimmick, but more to bring a little lightheartedness to the dark period Council has faced in the past year. I sincerely hope that Council and therefore Kelvin has a brighter period ahead, and I want to be part of that. Thank you for listening to me.
Thanks very much, Mr. Kaplan. So we're going to place you back in the virtual waiting room.
With music this time?
Pardon me?
With music this time?
Is it? That's good to know. Thank you,
Okay.
and we'll talk soon. Our next candidate we'll be hearing from is Mr. Kenneth Ference. Hello, Mr. Ference.
Good evening.
Okay, so we're going to give you 10 minutes, and you can address council and talk about whatever it is you want to tell us. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address council.
You're very welcome.
I worked for the Globe and Mail and the National Post and the North Bay Nugget for almost 50 years. The Globe and Mail gave me a tremendous amount of training, well over $1 million, and a lot of it was used for training in difficult situations with difficult employees. And I could use this training in part of being a member of council. I also worked as 7 years when I lived in Pickering. I was not only head of the Ratepayers Association, but I was head of all of the Ratepayers Associations, which gave me a tremendous amount of knowledge in working with council. I'm sure we are all very qualified for this position. The question is, who will make the necessary effort to meet the needs of the citizens of Kelvin? Years ago, I came around a corner on the other side of Sault Ste. Marie, and I saw a car in the ditch with a woman, and the car was on fire. There were a number of people looking down, but me and the other person were the only two people that went down to pull the woman out of the car before the car exploded. I received the Governor General's Award for bravery, and that's where I met Vic Fideli, who is a very, very good friend of mine. The question is that who will make the effort? A lot of people will just stand around and look around, but who's going to make the actual effort in order to do this? We need someone on council who is willing to give all to help the rights of the citizens of Kelvin. I was tired one time of watching that old gate at the dump wall rusted out. So one day I took a couple gallons of paint and went down there and painted it. It was just something that I thought would do, and I noticed nobody else has taken the effort to do it. I think it is not a need of council to have a leader rather than a follower. What you need is someone to work as part of the team here. And I think I could make a very, very good team member. I live next door, so I'm not likely to be late for council. I don't really have a lot else to say other than the fact that for the next 11 months, I'd like to give every amount of effort that I possibly can in helping the citizens of Kelvin, especially the seniors in Kelvin who are taking a terrible beating during this COVID-19. I'm looking forward to your questions, and I'm looking forward to serving with council. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We're going to place you back into the virtual waiting room, and we're going to bring out our next candidate to speak with us. Okay, so thank you again.
Sorry.
Hello, Mr. Gould.
Hello.
You're up. We're going to give you 10 minutes, okay, to address council and provide any statement you might wish to make. Okay?
All right. Well, thank you. Well, thank
You're
you, Mayor
welcome.
Panel, Councilor. No problem. Thank you, Councilor Cross and Shippen, for your time. As you know, I've been a long-time supporter of Calvin Township, where I've lived for almost 40 years. After my time at York University in Toronto, I moved to Europe, where I studied German at the Goethe-Universität Frankfurt and worked as a journalist and writer. While I was there, I met the lady who was to be my wife, and we decided to start a family in Canada. So we looked at different places to live. We looked at Kenora, Dryden, New Liskeard, Orangeville, and a few other areas, but finally decided on Calvin because of its blend of beauty, freedom, and climate, although we didn't know about the black flies at the time. I worked for over 3 decades for Stockfish Ford Sales and the Stockfish Automotive Group, where I became the finance manager and later the sales manager. While I was with the group, I often was sent to other stores that they had purchased in order to help fit them into our corporation. So I spent time in Cornwall Toyota, Bickley Ford in Huntsville, Pinewood Park and Kirkland Lake. And I was also charged with winding down operations for their Kia division and for the amalgamation of Sunset Ford in North Bay. So besides gaining experience in finance and management, I also learned a great deal about project management. And these are the skills that I would bring to my position as a counselor. In 1988, while I was still working at Stockfish, and lots of hours I might add, almost 60 hours a week on average, I wrote the Calvin history book, Calvin Remembers. And I'm sure you all remember the book. This gave me the opportunity to meet with many of my fellow residents at the time and to understand their goals and aspirations. And I hope one day that I can rewrite this book. In 2000, I had my first novel, Red Fox Road, published by Catchfire Press. And then 3 years later, I wrote and published Lake of Gulls. And this second book was based loosely on the former residents of Chios. And once again, I got to meet with many Calvin residents who now lived in Calvin, but grew up in Chios, and taught me a lot about the cultural fabric of this area. I was amazed by the history of our township. There had been 4 schools in Calvin, numerous churches, and quite a few retail establishments in the township over the years. And when council was first formed 130 years ago, collecting taxes was a much more difficult process than it was today, and it was decided that people could pay their taxes or could work on the roads for 1 day per year. By the 30s, with the Depression, it became a little bit more work involved. And if you owned 100 acres, you worked 1 day a year. If you owned 200 acres, you worked 2 days per year. And if you worked, I think it was up to over 500 acres, you worked 5 days a year. So there has been challenges that have gone on in the past that have sort of created the township that we have today. But some of the municipal decisions are really critical and important. And it may surprise you to know that in some of the early council sessions, the MO and GB, which stands for the Montreal, Ottawa, Georgian Bay project, was discussed. Oh, I just have a warning dumping up on screen here. There we go. And what this was is, hang on a second, something's jumping up on my screen. Norton antivirus. Yes, I want to cancel the scan, excuse me. The Montreal-Ottawa Georgian Bay project was a project that would have turned the Mattawa River into something similar to the Welland Canal. And large ocean-going ship traffic would have gone right through the north end of the township, through North Bay and into Georgian Bay, and would have replaced the Welland Canal. By 1907, the federal government spent $125,000, that's about $14 million in today's money, on a feasibility study. And this would have turned this area upside down and made it much different than what it is. And that was part of the municipal council in the early 1900s. So that brings us to today. Calvin Township now has absolute enormous potential. And this will be very vital in its growth in the future. We have the Ecology Center, we have the Champlain Provincial Park, the Eau Claire Gorge, the Mattawa River Provincial Park, and the almost unknown Ahmed Dafon Provincial Park. We have lakes, wetlands, streams, rivers. We have clean air farms and places for people to grow. There is so much potential in Calvin that it's unbelievable. Unfortunately, we also have challenges ahead. When the township was incorporated 130 years ago, the population of the world was just 1.5 billion people. Now it's almost 8 billion. Many municipalities would love to have the resources that we have. And I'm sure there's going to be increasing demand on these resources in the years to come. And global warming is putting pressure on the federal and provincial governments to pass laws that may make sense for certain urban centers in the south, but will not make as much sense for our area. And our municipality has to protect its interests. It's for these reasons that I seek a seat on council. I want to be part of this exciting future that's before us, and at the same time be able to maintain the social fabric of our township. There's a lot of great people here, and there's a lot of work to do. I've been asked many times in the past to take a seat on council, and because of the shift work I did in the past, I wasn't able to do so. And now I have the opportunity to contribute, and I wish to work with all of the council for a great future. And that's it. Thank you very much. I can't hear anybody saying anything.
I was on mute.
Hello?
We're going to place, thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to place you back into the virtual waiting room. And we're going to bring out the next candidate and provide her the opportunity to address council. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you.
Hello, Ms. Homer.
Hi,
Okay, welcome.
thank you.
So we're going to give you 10 minutes to address council, to tell us a little about yourself and perhaps why you're interested in filling this position on council. So proceed when you're ready.
Sounds good. I don't think I'll need the full 10 minutes, but I moved to North Bay in 2019. I was posted here with the military, knowing that this was going to be my retirement posting. I'll be 22 years in the military in February. And we decided to settle down in Calvin because we like the area. We didn't want to leave the kind of Nipissing area. We hadn't explored as far east as Mattawa when we saw our property posted online, and we decided to put in an offer, and we're very pleased we did. So in October, we purchased in the area, and we've had a chance now to explore the area a little bit, and we really love it. We love the size of the community. We love how close it is to other amenities that we might need. So you have that small community charm, but with access to stuff that we would need, especially having a small child. And with him needing access to school very soon in the next year anyway. And I decided that I wanted to try something new. I'm a nurse right now by trade. I joined the military as artillery and switched over after 10 years. And I'm looking to take the skills that I've made as a nurse and use it in another way. I am interested in working with the people in the Calvin community and learning more about the community, what it has to offer. Not just myself, but the public, people who pass by on Highway 17 every day and who maybe don't know that there's more to it than just trees. So I'm hoping that with my experience as a nurse working with people in many different areas, including like mental health, emerge, acute stroke and rehab, that I can kind of harness that ability to talk to people, work with people, organize, plan, delegate tasks to create something really wonderful with you guys in Calvin and support the people of the community. So my experience has been mostly in management in the last 6 or so years. So it's organizing things like town halls, creating different types of activities and promotion for the military clinics that I've worked in and for the general population that we serve, the military people in our communities, both in North Bay and previously in Toronto before that. So I'm hoping to kind of learn as much as I can about the Calvin, Mattawa, North Bay area and really make it our home in the coming years and be able to serve the people of that community in another capacity.
Okay, thank you very, very much. So we're going to place you back in the virtual waiting room again, okay? We're going to start asking the candidates the questions that we have before us.
Okay.
So we'll be talking to you relatively soon, okay? So thank you.
Thanks.
So Kim Brooker will be the first candidate to that we ask our questions of, okay? Hi, Kim.
Hello.
So we're going to start rotating through the candidates asking questions. We're going to ask our first question of you, and that question is, tell us what you know about the role of council and good, effective governance.
The role of council is to be there for the community, to help with decisions, to listen, work together with other council members and staff, follow the law, be respectful, just work together.
Okay, anything further?
Oh,
I'm not
I'd
telling
say-
you need to say something. I just want to make sure that I get all of the answers that you had to provide.
yeah. I believe that's deal with all kinds of people, contentious issues, different opinions, and working towards the betterment of the community.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to place you back in the virtual waiting room again.
Sure.
And we're going to bring out the next candidate to ask them the first question. All right, so thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bart.
Oh, we are back. Hello.
Yeah. You were getting involved in that music in there?
No, there was no music, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're going to ask you the first question on the list, okay?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you know about the role of council and good, effective governance?
Oh. The role of council. Well, one of the things that council is supposed to, I think, is supposed to do is be a good steward of the assets that we have. And secondly, to protect those same assets. Also, council has a duty to protect the ratepayers or the citizens, as you may want to call them, from harm. And with harm, I mean one of the things that financial harm. One of the roles of council is to direct in councils, in Calvin's case, to direct the employees through the employees manager, and I think that is in Calvin's case again, Cindy, to direct the employees to take care of daily matters. Yeah. Council's role is really a multitude of things. They have council has a responsibility to yeah, as I said, to be a steward over Calvin. That's really what it is. Council cannot just make willy-nilly decisions. They need to research and be fully aware of the consequences that that their decisions have. I know that there is currently a plan for a property standards act or legislation. Council needs to make sure that that is not a one-sided thing. It needs to look at all issues. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this. The role of council, important.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the financial stewardship is one of the main things that council is responsible for. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Anything further?
Well, I realize that I'm rambling a little bit, but yeah, it's I haven't really thought about this in depth. I will probably say tomorrow, oh, I should have said this and I should have said that, but that's how it is. Okay.
That's what everybody's going to say. Okay, so thank you very much.
Okay.
So we're going to put you back in the virtual waiting room now.
Okay.
And we're going to bring out our next candidate to ask them the first question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Parent.
Hi,
Welcome back.
thank you very much.
We're going to ask you the first question now, okay?
Okay, go
Can
ahead.
you tell us what you know about the role of council and good, effective governance?
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that. I
Okay,
wish I did, but I don't.
okay, thank you. All right. So we're going to place you back into the virtual waiting room, and we'll have you out again to when it comes time to the for the second question. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll see you in a little while. Hello, Mr. Gould. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're going to ask you the first question, sir.
All right.
Can you tell us what you know about the role of council and good, effective governance?
Sure. Well, the role of the role of a council or the councilors
Council as a group.
of as a group. Well, they
Yes.
have to consider what is in the best interests of the municipality, and they have to act in accordance with that, to do things that promote the welfare and the interests of the municipality. They have to attend meetings, read the agenda, I guess, before they get to the meeting, so that they can discuss matters that are important in council. They have to work together as a team and keep things confidential that need to be kept confidential until they're released publicly. And then they have to be supportive of decisions made in council. One thing that isn't talked about too often is that there are provincial laws that take precedent over municipal bylaws, but there are municipal bylaws that are specific to a certain area. For example, something that is passed in Toronto as a bylaw doesn't mean that it would be appropriate in Calvin Township. So it's a matter of looking at promoting the interests and the welfare of your own municipality and its people.
Thank you. Anything further?
Not that I can think of, no.
Suggesting you need to say something. I just don't want to cut you off, okay?
No, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much then. So we're going to place you back into the virtual waiting room, and we're going to bring out another candidate to ask the first question of them, okay? So
All right.
We'll see you in a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Ms. Homer.
Hi there.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So this is going to be the first question for you. So I'm going to ask that question now.
Okay.
Can you tell us what you know about the role of council and good, effective governance?
I would say the primary role of council would be to represent the constituents, the people in that area, and their ideals. Your job is also to help bring new, fresh, attainable ideas and goals to the community as well. Sometimes if you've been doing something for a while, you can feel that the status quo is appropriate and continue on that path. But I think Calvin getting involved in like the Starlink and things like that, I think shows that it's a community that is looking for new, fresh ideas and new concepts brought to the table. So I think you have the responsibility to your people, but you also have a responsibility to educate them on what's happening on in the rest of the world, and helping grow the community in whatever that means for your community, what's important to them. I think you do that by listening and honesty. Far too often, I think it's easy to be afraid maybe to do the work, or you're just not prepared to listen to the needs of the people. And I think you have to be prepared to do extra to gain not only the trust of the people in the community, but you also need to show them, demonstrate that you're prepared to do the hard work, the legwork, so that they can be best represented in the community.
Great, thank you. So while we have you here, we're going to ask you the second question.
Okay.
So the second question is as follows. There's less than a year until the next municipal election. What one thing do you believe is important for council to accomplish in that time?
Oh, that's very interesting. I'm going to say very broadly, fellowship. By reading the minutes that are posted online, it seems like the council is very proactive in bringing income into the community by different methods and things like that. It looks like you have a well-established fire station, government, and the landfill is there to help employ as well as generate income for the community. I think because you've lost 2 members of the council, depending on if you're planning on bringing in 1 or 2 more people, I think a really important thing for the council to do would be to ensure that the 500 plus people in the community are aware of the new person or people being voted in. I think it's important that they have the opportunity to speak and have that person or those people be visible to them, so that they can get a stronger sense of what would be needed in the coming years for the next election, and to make sure that tasks that have been brought up in the last 3-4 years, make sure that they have been completed to the best of the ability of the council and to the benefit of the people of Kelvin. So I'd say fellowship, making sure everybody is on the same page moving forward into the new election.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We're going to place you back into the waiting room again.
Okay.
But we will be seeing you shortly. Okay?
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thanks.
Hi again.
Hello again.
We're going to ask you the second question now, Mr. Gould.
All right.
There's less than a year until the next municipal election. What one thing do you believe is important for council to accomplish in that time?
Well, the obvious answer would be the completion of what's on your agenda for tonight, the strategic plan and the bylaw concerning the condition of the townships. I'm just yeah, Calvin's strategic plan and the wait a
Property
second.
standards?
That
Property
property standards plan. That's the obvious answer. Of course, council knows that I was very concerned with Castleholm, and my concern was based on the fiscal damage that could do the township. So some fiscal measures to help rein in costs and increase revenues is probably of paramount importance to the residents of the township as well. So I know that's more than one. And I got to throw in a fourth one, and that is that I think we really have to obtain a calmer township. We have to have more transparency with the public. We have to eliminate some of the underlying tensions that have drifted around from resident to resident. And I think that's really critical as well. So I know it's not really the exact answer to your question, because you said what is the one thing, but I think all four things are of equal importance.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to put you back in the waiting room again, but we will be talking to you shortly. So thank you.
All right, thanks.
Hello again, Mr. Ferrin.
Thank you.
We're going to ask you the second question now, okay?
Okay.
There's less than a year until the next municipal election. What one thing do you believe is important for council to accomplish in that time?
I'd like to see council, how can I explain this? The seniors in our society here are taking a tremendous beating. And I'd like to find a better way to help seniors get through the COVID-19. If I could give you an example, I ran out of insulin one day, and it was no big deal. I was just going to go and start the car and go. And the car wouldn't start. I got the car towed in and got the car fixed, but it took me 3 days to get insulin before I could. There's just no one to turn to. There's no society. Even the Red Cross wouldn't come out. It seems to me that seniors have been abandoned in this COVID-19. And I'd like to see a better, something at least, way to help seniors in our society. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to place you back in the waiting room again, but we will be talking to you shortly. Okay, so thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Hello again, Mr. Castellan.
Yes.
We're going to ask you the second question now.
Okay.
There's less than a year until the next municipal election. What one thing do you believe is important for council to accomplish in that time?
Not all things that are before council at the moment are within their jurisdiction. For example, Castleholm is something that is basically outside of outside of Calvin's grasp. Whatever has been decided or by others we will most likely will have to follow. We can, of course, make our voice heard, and that's one thing that I think council should do. Another thing is to finalize the official plan or the strategic plan, and make sure that that we put reserves aside in the next budget for things that are coming up, that we are sure that are coming up. For example, as I said before, the landfill closing, which is not too far away. When I say not too far, then I'm talking about 10, 15 years and possibly reopening another one. Those things I think would be for council to focus their efforts on. Taxation, of course, is always a very important part of all these things. I don't really want to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Not repeat the mistakes what councillors have made in the past. So I'll leave it at that.
Anything further?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to place you back in the waiting room, but we'll be
Okay.
talking to you soon.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hello again, Ms. Brooker.
Hello.
We have the second question that we're going to ask you now.
Okay.
There's less than a year until the next municipal election. What one thing do you believe is important for council to accomplish in that time?
Well, I think for council to achieve a better face in the community, from what I've been reading of what's happened recently in the past with council, I believe probably members of the community are not confident and secure in what the council can do for them, from what I've been reading and hearing. And a unified front with the new council members, with the current council and the staff, would be a big step forward in having the council be to achieve between now and November. I know it seems like a long time, but probably very difficult to accomplish a lot. Moving forward with the Castleholme issue, which I know is ongoing, but if all council members were able to be on board with that and help, and I know from what I've been reading, Sandy's been out collecting signatures and things like that. So if all of us could, if I were on council, I think that would relieve a lot of community members' minds that that's not hanging over their head, that extra taxation. If that could be concluded together as a unified council, I think that would be a great thing to be accomplished within the next 11 months.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to put you back in the waiting room again. Okay,
Sure.
But we'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, hang on. We're going to ask you a third question. Okay, might as well. You're already here, right?
Okay.
So thank you.
Sure.
So the third question is, in your opinion, what is the most effective way to engage residents? Explain why you believe this.
I think the most effective way is face-to-face engagement. I completely understand that COVID has probably stopped that. Community events where council members can be approached and spoken to about issues. Open forums, I believe, are great. And actually the survey that was done for the strategic plan. I think that is a great way to get people's input as well. So in person, and I believe surveys are, if you can get people to actually fill them out. I don't know the number of people that did, but those who did definitely had opinions that are worth listening to.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we're going to put you back in the waiting room again, but we will be talking to you soon.
Okay, great. Mhm.
Thank you. Mr. Kaplan,
Yes, we are back.
we're back. We have the third question for you. In your opinion, what is the most effective way to engage residents, and explain why you believe this?
Talk to them. Face-to-face talking is always the most effective way of getting their opinions heard. Now, I realize full well that you cannot talk to all residents in a short period of time, but everybody has a group of neighbors and acquaintances that they regularly converse with, and council should not avoid talking about issues in Kelvin that may come to the council table. So yes, I think talking to them would be the most effective way. Having opinion polls and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you only get people that are willing to fill those out. Not everybody has the time nor the interest in doing that. I think just plain old-fashioned face-to-face meetings is the best way to do that. And that's it.
Thank you. So we're going to put you back in the waiting room again, but we will be
Yes.
talking to you very soon.
It's getting pretty lonely there.
Hello again, Mr. Ference.
Welcome back.
We have the third question for you.
Okay.
In your opinion, what is the most effective way to engage residents, and explain why you believe this?
Probably sending out letters to them. There's not a good communication between council right now and the residents of Kelvin. For example, I've never received an email from council saying, you know, I've done this or I've done that. We need to get a better arrangement between reporting between council and the citizens. To be quite honest with you, most of the time we don't know what's going on. I do read all of the letters that we get, and I just don't know what else to say, but we need a better way of speaking to the residents, no matter what the issues are. For example, I have no idea why these two councillors are no longer with us. And I've talked to a lot of my residents in the neighborhood, and they don't either. You know, I remember when Mr. Brown was mayor, we used to go to council, and we used to sit at the council table there, and it was like a family. How are you doing? You know, how's your wife? Did you see the game last night? It was like a family gathering, and everybody was happy. But now, what happened? What happened that it disintegrated to such a point that we lost two councillors, three actually. So to start out with, reach out to the council, reach out to the people and ask them what they would do to have a better reaction between council and the residents. I think you'd be surprised what you would get. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna place you back in the waiting room again, but we'll be talking to you again.
That's okay. Getting a good sleep.
Thank you.
Flyer.
Hello again, Mr. Gould.
Hello
We
again.
have our third question for you.
All right.
In your opinion, what is the most effective way to engage residents, and explain why you believe this?
When you say to engage residents, you mean to inform them of things?
Just get them involved, perhaps. Everyone has
All right.
their own definition of that word. I'll leave that to you.
All right. Well, as you know, I went door to door with the Calvin petition. And the one thing that surprised me was that although I had put lots of stuff on social media, I had put lots of stuff in the newspapers. It had been in the North Bay Nugget. I had written letters to the editor of Bay Today. The vast majority of people that I spoke to when I knocked on their door didn't know what I was talking about until I actually met them door to door. So I think the only way to reach residents, to engage residents, is a multifaceted approach. And what I mean by that is you can't depend on social media, you can't depend on a newsletter, you can't depend on email, and it's certainly not practical to go and knock on everybody's door every time that there is an issue that needs discussion. So the best way to engage residents is to have a website, a Calvin Township website, which is an information website, not a back and forth website. And that website, the Calvin website, provides a lot of information, but perhaps a little bit too much COVID information. So it drowns people in information and they don't see specific information relevant to an issue because they ignore a lot of other stuff. There should be a social media presence, perhaps a Facebook and a Twitter page for the township. When I worked for Stockfish Ford Sales, I set up 3 different websites. I had a Facebook page, a Twitter page, or a Twitter account. And of course, we advertised in the newspapers. So you can't just depend on one, and of course we advertised on the radio. You can't depend on one source. You have to have a multifaceted approach, and they have to be consistent. So you put on your webpage a piece of information that's applicable to whatever's going on in council at that point in time. You put that also on social media. You put that also in the flyer, so that and then I would say the last one is as much face-to-face as possible, and that's done through community events, through the Calvin's Women's Association, through special events that are held at the council, and you put all of that together to engage the community. And that's
Thank
it.
you very much. Okay. Just so you're aware, we do have those pages out there. Okay.
Well, no, we do have them, but I think what has to happen is they all have to be uniform. So on Monday, something is said on one place and it should be said in all the others. And it should be across the board. So there is a uniformity of message.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to put you back in the waiting room again, Mr. Gould, but we will be talking to you again shortly. Hello, Ms. Harmer.
Hi there.
We're going to ask you the third question.
Okay.
In your opinion, what is the most effective way to engage residents, and explain why you believe this?
My preference is town halls or open forums. And I think it's the best way to reach people because not everybody wants somebody knocking at their door to introduce themselves or talk about events or situations that they think are important. I think it should be a location or via the internet where people can choose to participate if they wish. And it's open for everybody to hear the questions being asked and answered. I think a lot of times it's just a matter of miscommunication, why things don't maybe turn out well in a situation. Somebody doesn't understand, maybe they're afraid to ask the right questions or they don't know the questions to ask. And I think in open forum situations, maybe that person beside you asks the questions that you were too afraid to ask, or maybe it helps generate additional conversation. And it also makes sure everybody's on the same playing field. By going from like one person to another in a community, there's a chance for something to be missed. And this way it allows everybody to have a voice within the community.
Okay, thank you. So while we have you here, we're going to ask you question number 4.
Okay.
So what motivated you to put your name forward to sit on council at this time?
I think it was selfish reasons, actually. I'm at a point where I want to change. Like I said, I released from the military in April, and I wanted to take skills that I have developed over the years and put my energies into something else. It also gave me the would give me the opportunity to learn that much more about the community and be a much more active participant in it. I think that I did it because it's different and it's exciting. And I believe that one person can make a difference. But if you have a team of 5 people on a community council, the difference that can be made. I think I bring fresh ideas and perspectives and to situations. And I think that my experiences could benefit the community.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So we're going to ask you to go back in the waiting room again.
Okay.
Okay, but we'll be with you again shortly.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Gould, we're back with
Oh, hi.
question number 4.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, the way it works out in the rotation. Can you tell us what motivated you to put your name forward to sit on council at this time?
Absolutely. As I said in my opening remark, I see that Calvin has a really bright future and so much potential in this township. And I think that I want to be part of realizing that potential. I think that it's an exciting time. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. we're going to put you back in the waiting room again.
All right.
Hello, Mr. Ference.
Hi. Getting down to the nitty gritty of it.
I have question number 4 for you.
Go ahead.
What motivated you to put your name forward to sit on council at this time?
Well, there was 11 months left, and I thought I could utilize that time in order to help seniors to get through this COVID. It's a lot worse than a lot of people think, and I thought I could help in some way or fashion to bring my voice to council. And also, I thought all of the experience that I've had in all of the training that I had received, that I could be part of a team in order to achieve some of the things that council want to achieve. During that 11 months, I thought we could really work together as a team, and I look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to put you back in the waiting room again, but we will be with you shortly.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Mr. Kathleen.
Yes, I'm back.
I have question number 4 for you.
Okay.
Can you tell us what motivated you to put your name forward to sit on council at this time?
Well, one of the things that motivates me is I have, as you are very well aware, I have followed council meetings since 2014, and I find it very interesting what council is being presented with and how they come to a decision, usually in a very amicable way. I think that as an older person, because I don't mind to admit that I'm 75 years old. As an older person, I bring some experience to the table that may be interesting to the other council members. I love Calvin. We chose to live here, moving up from down south, and we have enjoyed living here for all that time. We moved here in 2007, so we have been here for 14 years, and we never regretted 1 minute of it. We, or at least I should say, and I have a great admiration for the council members doing their duty, and I think that me, as I said, as an older person, can put forward ideas that may not be so obvious to younger members of council. So that's one of the reasons why I would like to be a part of this council team, and I specifically say team.
Thank you. We're going to place you back in the waiting room again.
Yeah,
but we'll be with you again.
It's lonely out there.
Hello, Ms. Brooker.
Hi.
We have question number 4 for you. Can you tell us what motivated you to put your name forward to sit on council at this time?
Sure. I stated a little bit previous was that I had great interest in small communities. I've always lived in a small community. I found that I was having time while I was in Yukon to really focus on what happened in the small community where I hadn't before. My children had grown up and left. My husband and I are living alone, so I had more time and an interest to see a community do well, prosper, and succeed and move forward. So as I said, knowing I was moving back here, I started really paying attention to the Kelvin website and seeing what was going on, and thought I have great interest in all of that. So I was considering putting my name forward next year. And in the meantime, found out that there were the 2 vacancies. So I thought, why not do it now so that people could be exposed to me and what I hopefully could do for them. And when there would be an actual election, I would be more well known and have a better chance of getting onto council next term.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's basically it.
Okay, thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
we're gonna move on to the next question while we have you with us.
Sure.
Question number 5 is, can you explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate? And I can repeat the question if you like.
Yes, please.
Okay. Explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate.
I believe the most ethical to always have would be knowing my position as a counselor, which would be to represent the public and the community as a whole, not individuals, not simply the loudest, most aggressive people, be able to stand my ground on opinions and decisions, and work with fellow counselors as a unit, and not be singular, not be making decisions and comments without thinking of the rest of the council and the staff as well.
Okay, thank you. We're going to put you in the waiting room again, but we will be talking with you relatively soon.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hello again, Mr. Castellan.
Good.
I'm going to ask you question number 5. Can you please explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate? And if you need to, I'll repeat the question for you.
Yes, please.
Could you please explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate?
The willingness to represent not yourself, but represent represent Kelvin as a whole. So look after the interests of all people and businesses living in Kelvin, and definitely not have a personal agenda. And of course, I can, as a council member, you cannot engage engage or promote personal business. That is absolutely out of the question. it is important that that a council member has, and I said that, has the interests of all Calvinites in mind, and it is something that must be stressed at all times. It is not you, or it is not me that is on council. It is me representing the people of Kelvin. So that's really my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to put you back in the waiting room again,
Okay.
but we'll be talking to you again soon.
Well, thank you.
Well, Mr. Parent,
Hi.
can you please explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate? And if you like, I can repeat that.
I'm not sure I heard that question correctly. Am I asked what's the best thing council has done in the last couple of years?
No. The question is, please explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate.
Respect for the other councilors and of course the mayor. Respect for the system. Respect for the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
We're going to put back in the waiting room again. Hello
We're back.
again.
Hi, we're
question
back.
number 5 for you.
Okay.
Can you please explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate? And if you like, I can repeat that.
Sure, please. What is most?
Okay. Please explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate.
I read the municipal guides handbook just for fun, and they talk a lot about transparency, and I think transparency is probably the most. If you have nothing to hide and you're transparent, then you're ethical, and I think transparency would be the most important ethical position a councillor could take.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
We're going to place you back in the waiting room again, sir.
All right.
Hello, Ms. Homer.
Hi
Homer?
there. Yes.
I have the 5th question to ask you.
Perfect.
Can you please explain what you believe is the most important ethical value a member of council should consistently demonstrate? And if you like, I can repeat that question.
Ethical value. Okay. Hands down, honesty, but I think it's honesty through transparency. I think it's not enough to be just truthful with like the council and with the people of Kelvin. I think it's important that everybody is aware and on the same page about everything happening at any given time. The biggest takeaway I have from the military, and we have so many different leadership courses we have to do throughout the years, and the biggest one is of our values is know your troops, promote their welfare, and keep them informed of the ever-changing situation. And I think that's where the transparency comes in. So it's not enough just to be honest. You have to be able to give people a full picture and a full response, and constantly be keeping people informed of how you're accomplishing your given task or your duties, in order to further solidify that you're being as honest as possible in your role.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask you question 6 at this time.
Okay.
Help us to understand the type of leader you will be by describing your 2 highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term. And what about the long term?
So short term, it comes back to the fellowship, like I was saying before. I think I'm not fully aware of everything that happens in Kelvin at this point. We just moved into our home or secured our home in October, but I think things like community events are really important. So that would be a short term goal of mine, is the camaraderie, bringing the townspeople together, offering some sort of activity that people can participate in. I really like that there's a skating rink this winter. I think that's one way of doing it. I'm not sure if you participate in any type of craft fairs, bake fairs, or anything like that, that could both help generate money for something and could also bring people of the community together more. So I think that's one. For long term, I think it's wellness. Just doing some research over the last week about the population and the age range of the population in Kelvin and the accessibility of things like healthcare and things like that. I think it's ensuring that there's wellness support and open communication with the council and with the people to see where the needs are. Perhaps there's a need for like volunteer driving services to help people get to physician appointments, or to get their immunization shots, or something like that. I think that would be potentially a longer term goal if something isn't already established in Kelvin. For me, would be the wellness of the community and camaraderie for a short term goal.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to put you back in the waiting room again.
Thank you.
Mr. Gould, I have question number 6 for you.
All right.
Help us understand the type of leader you will be by describing your 2 highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term, and what about the long term?
Change in our municipality. Well, I think the short-term goals are really quite simple. I would have a lot of learning to do. And I think for the short term, what I have to do is hunker down and just learn about processes and laws and requirements and how everything all fits together in a puzzle of Calvin Township. Long-term goals, as I've mentioned, I really see that there are some challenges ahead in Calvin Township. I remember working for Stockfish and having a situation that came up where we wanted to protest a tax that was being brought out against SUVs. And it was going to be a tax that if you bought an Explorer, it was going to cost you $2,700 in taxes as a gas guzzler tax. And that made sense in Toronto, where people didn't need four-wheel drive vehicles. But I think the future for us is going to be somewhat similar. You're going to have people in Southern Ontario who are going to be saying that no one should own or drive a pickup truck because a pickup truck wastes fuel. No one should be outside on a four-wheeler because a four-wheeler wastes fuel. And although that may be true in Southern Ontario, it won't be true here. And I think long-term, I want to represent the cultural values, the social values of Calvin Township in a society that's becoming very swayed by social media and willing to accept things without thinking them through. So long-term goals, I'd like to work towards making Calvin Township and the surrounding area, not just Calvin, but the surrounding area, a good place to live and a safe place to live and a good place to be.
Okay.
So that's my
very much.
short-term and long-term.
Okay, thank you. We're going to put you back in the waiting room again.
All right.
Hi again.
Hi.
Can you help us understand the type of leader you will be by describing your two highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term, and what about the long term?
Well, the long term will probably be based on what happens during the next 11 months. If I find that I'm contributing a lot and I'm helping members of council work together as a team, and then I'll run for council again. And if at the end of 11 months I find that I have not achieved what I would require, I would probably not run again. And what was the first part of the question?
Okay, I'll repeat it for you. It's help us understand the type of leader you will be by describing your two highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term, and how about the long term?
Well, in the short term, the only person I know on council, well, I know you, of course, and I know Sandra Kloss. I would be looking for guidance from the two of you, because I know very little about how this council operates, and I would look for guidance, and I would look for ways in order to meet the needs of council. I can't just jump in and say I'm going to be a leader, or I'm going to be a manager, or you're going to do things my way. Things just don't work that way. I have to find a way very, very quickly to become a member of the team in order to work together, in order to treat equally, that everybody is treated equally and everybody's listened to in order to meet the goals of council. I think that best represents how I feel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're going to place you back in the waiting room again.
Okay.
Hello, we have question number 6 for you, Mr. Castellan.
Okay.
Can you help us understand the type of leader you will be by describing your 2 highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term, and what about the long term?
Whew. Well, one of the things that, and it is because we are currently limited by regulations from the province about COVID. What I would like to see is a greater use of the Kelvin Community Center. And as a senior, of course, I would like to see more activities for seniors. That is one of the things in the short term. But as I said, we are limited by COVID. In the longer term, I would like to see an increased tax base through development, not big scale development, because we are a rural community and we should remain a rural community. But I think we should promote Kelvin as a fantastic place to live, and that would be one of the longer term goals that I would like to see. As I said, the short term goal would be a greater use of the Kelvin Recreation Center, the rec hall, and a second one. Yeah. Ask me the same question tomorrow, and I will probably have some more things to say. But this is for the time being that I would remain on. Yeah. So 2 things? No, not at the moment. Unfortunately.
Okay, well, thank you. We're going to put you back in that waiting room again.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Hello, Ms. Brooker. We have question number 6 for you.
Okay.
Can you help us understand the type of leader you will be by describing your 2 highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term, and what about the long term?
Could you repeat that question?
Absolutely. Can you help us understand the type of leader you will be by describing your 2 highest priorities for change in our municipality in the short term, and what about the long term?
Okay. In the short term, I think having Kelvin become a more cohesive community with everyone respecting each other and listening to the community's needs and wants. In the short term. In the long term, I think Kelvin is such a lovely community. I think the community would benefit from more small businesses. So there'd be more people coming to the community, living in the community, and just promoting it long term in terms of just it being a lovely place. I honestly, before I found out about Kelvin, before we purchased our property, I'd been to Mattawa a lot. I'd never heard of Kelvin. So in terms of just having it be more of a presence, that might be not a popular opinion. I know in my community in the Yukon, the mayor there didn't want promotion of the community, didn't want people moving in. However, the community members did, because the more people in the community, the more dollars, the more activities, the community members, I believe, would benefit from that. So you might not please everyone, but having more focus on Kelvin, more people moving there, wanting to move there, seeing how beautiful it is, the gorge, the lakes, the hiking, the skiing, the trails. I just think more focus long term.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
If I'm going to ask you question number 7.
Sure.
We're getting near the end. What are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way or ways to address them?
My understanding is that there is not a lot of that there are not a lot of businesses, so commercial taxation base is probably lower than other communities. So again, if more small commercial businesses would move to the community, then there would be more money in the coffers to be used for what is needed. Was there a second part to that question? I'm sorry.
It was, what are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way or ways to address them?
Okay, then I believe I answered the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
We're going to place you back in the waiting room again.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Kaplan, I have question number 7 for you.
Okay.
What are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way or ways to address them?
Well, there's one issue that is, of course, on everybody's mind lately, which is the redevelopment of Castleholm and the unexpected large amount of money that it was going to cost. When I say unexpected large amount of money, I mean that in 2015, 2016, there was talk about close to 50 million, and it has ballooned to currently 121 billion. The share that Kelvin is supposed to pay is exorbitantly high. I realize that we have one large ratepayer in the municipality in the form of a pipeline, but still there is quite a large amount of money that needs to be brought up by the taxpayers. The problem, of course, will be how to solve that financing problem without putting an undue burden on the ratepayers. And do I have the answer to that? No, I don't. What I can hope for is that the provincial government must be lobbied to put in a larger share up front, not over 25 years, so that that Kelvin's share would relatively be smaller than what it currently is. And that is one of the pressing financial issue. Other issues would be, of course, our roads department In the past budgets, the roads department was one of the first departments to be cut in finances. And that, in my opinion, has led to some inefficiencies in road maintenance, and they should be brought back up to the standard they were before, let's say 3-4 years ago. And that would be another financial issue that is pressing on council. Other than that, I think council or Kelvin, not council, Kelvin has been setting money apart for many things, and we should definitely continue doing that. So there's my 2 cents worth.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to put you back in the waiting room.
Yes.
Talk to you soon.
Unfortunately, Mayor Pennell,
Yep.
like we've lost parent. I can try and invite him back again, but do you want to move on to the next candidate?
Yes, let's proceed through these questions. And if Mr. Terrence hasn't reconnected, then maybe you can proceed with that.
Okay.
Please. Hello again.
Hello, is the doctor in? I can come out of the waiting room?
I have question number 7 for you.
Oh, good. We're getting near the end.
We are. What are your biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way or ways to address them?
Oh, that's been the focus of my attention for many months now, is some of the fiscal issues facing the township. I've read the last 2 annual budgets, and excuse me if I'm a little bit out of my numbers because I'm just quoting from memory, but the budget of the township, I believe, is around $1.1 million. And I see that the social services portion is increasing all the time. The police, what we pay for police services, increasing all the time. And of course, Castleholm was, I believe, about $56,000 per year. And if the new rebuild goes through, that's anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 a year, amortized over the 25 years. So those are all really big issues facing the township. The other one is that we only have 200 households in the township, 500 and some odd residents. And that makes our residential tax base kind of small. So you have big expenses and small income, and you depend then on the income of Columbia Forest Products, the pipeline. And should anything happen there, it's sort of the sword of Damocles hanging over your head. It's something that could cause catastrophe within the township. So how do you fix it? I guess it's really, really hard. I mean, I've always been a proponent that we have to promote young people and businesses in the township. The population went down on the census from 2012, I believe, to 2016, meaning that people were actually at that point in time moving out. We have had an influx of a few people through the COVID period, but I think we have to find a way to, one, keep the population here, which means we have to do things that are going to benefit the young members of the community, the children, so that children growing up here have a reason to stay. We have to do things that encourage people to remain in the township, and we have to do things that encourage people to come into the township. I mentioned in the beginning that Calvin has all these absolutely fabulous resources, and it really does. I mean, I've lived here for so many years, and I've never even been to the Ahmed Dafan Provincial Park or portions of it. And I mean, we have all these resources, but even if we promoted them, there's no businesses that take advantage of that increase in tourism. So what we need to do is sort of promote small business so that we have more general stores open up. I don't know if anybody knows this, but there used to be a dance hall and a bar on on Highway 17, and there used to be a small bar and a store right at the corner of Homestead Road and Boundary Road. All of these places have closed because they don't get support, and I think we need to support things for children. We need to support things for small business, and we also need to stay on top of our payments to social service by looking at the weighted assessment or the current value assessment. We have to look at things like Castle Home and do whatever we can to mitigate some of those expenses. And we have to look at the other large contributor, which is Columbia Forest Products, and make sure everything is running smoothly there. So it's sort of a balancing act of income and expense, and that's what absolutely has to be done. I'm very, very concerned. You've heard me mention that that global warming is creating policies that maybe have impacts that other people don't intend. I know Vic Fideli didn't agree with me, but I strongly believe that a natural gas pipeline over the next 25 years could be problematic in the township. And we have to be making contingency plans if something should happen there. So expense control and generating income through the promotion of population and small business. And that's it. Simple. Just something you can do in your sleep.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we're going to place you back in the waiting room again.
All right.
Hello, Ms. Homer.
Hi there.
I have question number 7 to ask you.
Okay.
What are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way or ways to address them?
Sorry, can you state that again? It's the biggest fiscal, you said?
Fiscal, yeah. Financial challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way or ways to address them?
That's a good question.
Thank
To be perfectly honest, I don't know. definitely bringing in business and having business available for people who frequent the area. It's a very small community. So I guess I would consider, besides I know there's a cemetery, there's the dump, the municipal dump. I'm not sure what other means of financial, like, or money generation there are for the town of Kelvin, but bringing in more business, maybe small business owners. I know parts of the municipality have a lot of like agricultural or animals, farmland. Maybe it's seeing what those people that own those type of homes, what they're doing with their properties. Are they running small businesses out of there? I know that there's a couple of dog breeding businesses and things like that, boarding businesses. What other business can we bring that will attract money to the community, will attract, whether it's lenders or whether it's just people driving down Highway 17 and say, I'd like to go there, I'd like to be there. The geographical location of Kelvin is absolutely stunning. So I'm not sure what avenues have already been looked at, but maybe there's a way that we can create something that will draw people in, like an events arena of some sort, something that would attract people for vacations, attract people for weddings or large gatherings, of course, when the pandemic and everything is over. Another idea, much larger scale and maybe longer term down the road, would be having some sort of a community center. I know there's not really a community center in the area of Kelvin Mattawa. Maybe that would be something that could be looked at, whether it's getting in a city pool or having an indoor track and gym, something that could bring the community members together. People could have some sort of membership, and the money goes to maintaining this community center for all to use, as well as giving back to the community. I would have to do a lot more research on the topic because I am not well versed in what's already been trialed. But those are a couple of things that I've been thinking about over the last maybe month or so, of things that I would appreciate seeing in the community one day.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to put you back in the waiting room. Okay.
Okay.
Have you had any luck with Mr. Ference, Cindy?
Yes, Mr. Ference is now back with us, so
Okay.
I want to ask him that question.
Yes, please. Hi.
I had a heart attack here. The hydro flickered and the computer crashed.
Oh, that's no good.
No, I
I have question number 7 for you.
Okay, go ahead.
What are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best way or ways to address them?
The biggest fiscal challenge in our community is finances. I know we're doing an excellent job, and I've always said that our taxes are too low here. And this comes under the category, we still need to do a better job of looking after our seniors. Like, we need, I don't know how to explain it, I don't know how to get into it, but there is not enough resources that comes from this community that goes into long-term care homes, in my opinion, and into smaller homes that seniors can go into, or even resources that are dedicated to helping seniors get through it's like a time bomb that has gone off here, and it's not as if we haven't known that it was coming. We've known this since about 1960, and it's not just this council, but it's every council across Canada. We are not putting enough time and resources into finances, and I still think I really love the fact that our taxes are really low, but somewhere along the line we need to increase taxes in order to look after our seniors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to put you back in the waiting room again, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So can we call Miss Homer again, please? Hi again.
Hi.
I have the last question for you. Okay. So regular council meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, and special meetings of council can also be scheduled during the month for various reasons. Is there any reason you could not physically attend an in-person meeting or electronically attend an electronic meeting, depending on what format the meeting is scheduled?
No, there's nothing that will be a conflict in my schedule. Right now, I'm able to create my own schedule with work, and come April, I will be unemployed, I guess. I've retired, and will only be taking part-time work. So I would be able to dedicate the bulk of my time to this endeavor.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to put you back in the waiting room again.
Okay.
Won't be long, though.
Okay. No.
Hi.
Hi,
One final question.
one final one. 2 scoops of
Yeah.
raisins.
This is an easy one. Regular council meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, and special meetings of council can also be scheduled during the month for various reasons. Is there any reason you could not physically attend an in-person meeting or electronically attend an electronic meeting, depending on what format the meeting is scheduled?
No reason whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to put you back in the waiting room one more time. Okay?
All righty.
Thank you. Hi
Well, that
again.
was short. That was short.
Yeah. I have one final question for you. Regular council meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, and special meetings of council can also be scheduled during the month for various reasons. Is there any reason you could not physically attend an in-person meeting or electronically attend an electronic meeting, depending on what format the meeting is scheduled?
None whatsoever. I live next door to you, which makes it really easy.
Okay, I'm going to put you back in the waiting room again.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Yeah, we're back.
I'm going to ask you question number 8.
Okay.
Regular council meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, and special meetings of council can also be scheduled during the month for various reasons. Is there any reason you could not physically attend an in-person meeting or electronically attend an electronic meeting, depending on what format the meeting is scheduled?
Only death I am. Other than that, I can always be available at any time.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to put you back in the waiting room.
Okay.
Hello, Ms. Brooker.
Hi.
I have the 8th question for you. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Regular council meetings are held on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, and special meetings of council can also be scheduled during the month for various reasons. Is there any reason you could not physically attend an in-person meeting or electronically attend an electronic meeting, depending on what format the meeting is scheduled?
I have no problem attending in-person meetings. My only concern is where I am. My internet is not great, so I've come over to my daughter's house for this meeting to make sure I had good connection for the electronic meeting. But no, I should be able to do that in future if they're electronic meetings, and I certainly can be there in person.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I guess we're going to bring back everyone into the meeting now.
Wow, back again.
Everyone's back now. Okay?
I can see
The way
that.
we
Yeah.
started out this evening. There we go.
Ah, we're all back now.
Yes, sir. So the next item we need to do is we're going to vote in an open session, which is what we have now. As the municipal clerk calls the candidate's name in alphabetical order. Okay? So I'll let you proceed with that, Cindy. You're on mute, Cindy.
Sorry.
Not just be angry.
Sorry. So this is, I'm just going to read the names in alphabetical order and what I'll call on each council member to cast their vote. Okay, this is for the first seat. Okay, so Kim Brooker. Councillor Shipham, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Cross
Yes.
and Mayor Pennell?
I vote yes as well.
Okay, the first seat goes to Miss Brooker. This is for the second seat. So Miss Brooker's out of the running now, so the first name is Bart Castellan. Sorry, I need to write down at the same time. Councillor Cross, your vote?
No.
Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
Mayor Pennell?
I vote yes as well.
Okay, essentially that's the majority vote, so those two seats are full.
So we need to pass a resolution now. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
I want to thank all the candidates before we move on here. So we have this resolution in front of us. I'm going to need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Shipham, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Cross, can you second it?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Shipman, seconded by Councillor Cross, that Ms. Brooker and Mr. Castellan be appointed as councillor for the corporation of the municipality of Calvin for the remainder of the term of office from 2018 to 2022 term of council. Any discussion? Councillor Cross.
Just that I appreciate that everybody who's come out, there were some very good answers. I kind of wish there was actually a third seat available. But I just appreciate everybody coming out. And hopefully they will put their name in again.
Any discussion, Councillor Shipham?
No discussion, but again, thanks everybody for coming out and showing your interest in council. And hopefully we'll see you again in November if you choose to run again. Thanks.
Okay. So I'm going to call for a vote on this resolution. Councillor Cross, do you vote yes or no to accept this resolution?
Yes.
Councillor Shipman, do you vote yes or no to accept this resolution?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So this resolution is carried. Thank you, everyone.
Panel,
Yes,
before we move on, can I just ask one question, please?
absolutely.
Ms. Brooker, are you in agreement with accepting this position?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Castellan, are you in agreement with accepting this position?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, thank you for that. So I'll just read the next item on the agenda. So we've passed the motion to appoint the successful candidates. So the appointment of the candidates will be made by bylaw at the next regular council meeting on December the 14th, 2021. The clerk will administer the declaration of office required by subsection 232(1) of the Municipal Act 2001 before or at the meeting where the bylaw is enacted by council. So the next item on the agenda is to continue with the process of developing a municipal strategic plan. We were provided with a draft version of the plan. Councillor Shipham.
Would it be possible to take a short break before we move on to the next portion here?
We could do that, yes. So I see 8:53. Would 9 o'clock be appropriate?
I don't know that it needs to be that long, but sure.
Okay. How about we come back at 9 o'clock? Okay.
Okay.
If any of the candidates feel like they'd like to log off, then go ahead and do so. If not, you're welcome to stay. You just won't be able to participate in the ongoing meeting. Wait one more minute. It'll be 9 o'clock at that time. Okay, I got 9 o'clock. So we'll come back to the meeting now. Our next item on the agenda is to continue with the process of developing the municipal strategic plan. The objectives for this meeting are for council to review the draft strategic plan presented. So we all had the draft provided to us in our council packages last week. So I'm assuming that everyone's had the opportunity to look through them over the weekend. So we do have a resolution concerning this, and I want to get a mover and a seconder on that before we proceed. So Councillor Cross, can I get you to move this resolution, please?
Yes, you can.
Thank
One
you.
moment, I just have to call it up.
Okie dokie. All right.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I need a mover and a seconder. So Councillor Cross, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I will.
And Councillor Shipman, can you second it, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Cross, second by Councillor Shipman, that the next meeting for the development of municipality of Calgary strategic plan will be held February the 1st, 2022, if required, as a special meeting of council. So the directive to staff is to make the suggested changes to the draft strategic plan as indicated by council and bring the revised draft to the special meeting of council on February the 1st, 2022. If no changes are required, then the strategic plan can be brought forth at the next regular council meeting. Okay, so I'm going to call for a discussion. Councillor Cross, do you have anything that you'd like to discuss on this? Or any changes you'd like to see made?
No, I don't see any changes. I think it looks really good. My only question would be the implementing when we're going to just work on certain things of the plan. I know that may not be in this portion, but that is very important to know that once we have this in place, making a plan of when we're going to try to execute each portion of it. No, I thought it looked really good. There was everything in there that we were discussing. I had nothing further to add. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Shipman?
No, I thought it looked really good, but I was just wondering where, like, I thought establishing the CAO was in this portion of, because in the handbook under external opportunities or whatever, it was to look at the establishment of the CAO. So I don't know why it's not in here.
Okay. I'd like to see it added as well. Is there any particular reason why it's not there, Cindy?
It was my impression that it was being taken care of under the go forward strategy that is being done as well. It can be added into the strategic plan.
I'd kind of like to see it added here so we have it documented, and then it's actually documented, so it's on our list of things we need to do.
Yeah, because I thought at whatever other meeting that we were at, it was like within 6 months, we wanted to get the CAO up and running, or if I remember correctly.
Was there anything else in there, Councillor Shipman?
No, the rest I thought was great.
Okay. So I guess our directive to the clerk treasurer is to make the suggested changes, and then we're going to come back. When will we have that meeting, Councillor? No, Cindy? Draft. Bring the next draft to the February 1st meeting?
Well, we can do it that way, or if it's just the one change that needs to be done, the change can be made and the bylaw and the new plan can be brought forth at the next regular council meeting for council approval.
Okay, is everyone in agreement to the next meeting? Councillor Cross?
Yes, I am.
And Councillor Shipman?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I am as well, so let's do what we need to do here to make that happen.
Okay. Does council want to revise this or amend this motion then, or?
I guess we would need to say that to make the one change to add the CAO to the strategic plan and bring it back to the February the 1st, 2022 meeting. Right?
Do you
That
want
way-
it at February 22, the February meeting, or do you want it at the December 14th meeting?
Okay, let's, yeah, okay, December 14th, the next meeting, yeah.
Okay. So I'll amend this motion then?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll need to have two votes, one for the amendment and one for the, to pass the motion.
Resolution. Okay, so I'll need a vote on the amendment. Councillor Croft, how do you vote for the amendment? Do you vote to accept it or not?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and Councillor Shipman, do you vote to accept the amendment or not?
Bert had his hand up for a question.
No, Bart's not allowed to participate in the meeting.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right, yes.
Okay, I vote yes as well. Okay, so that was for the amendment. Now it's for the motion. So do you vote to accept this motion, Councillor Cross?
Yes, I do.
And Councillor Shipham?
Yes,
Okay, and I vote yes as well. So this resolution is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so E is the next item on the agenda, and it's a discussion on the potential of a property standard bylaw for the municipality of Calvin. Do we have a... No, we don't have a resolution for that, right?
No, it was just supposed to be a discussion.
Pardon me?
It was just supposed to be a discussion?
Okay. I'd kind of like to see this discussion deferred until maybe sometime in January, so that we can have our new councillors sworn in and be a part of the discussion and of the potential property standards bylaw, so that they can read up on our bylaws and what information that we've looked at already for these property standards. We've looked at a couple different municipalities, so maybe we can provide them with that information as well, so that we can have a constructive discussion at a January meeting. And looking at the calendar, I'm kind of looking at January the 11th, 2022, if that's okay with everyone. So your opinion, Councillor Cross?
Yes, I agree. I was going to actually ask for this to be deferred until we have a whole council. That way we could all have input on the discussion. So I'm in agreement with this, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry I stepped on your toes. Councillor,
You didn't.
are you okay with postponing this till January the 11th?
Yes, I am.
Is that a good date, Cindy, January the 11th?
That is the first regular council meeting of the new year.
Okay. Okay, so then we'll postpone this discussion until that time. So the next item on the agenda is information letters, and we don't have any this evening. With our no information letters available, there is no old and new business. There is no council approval report. There is no closed portion, and there's no business arising from the closed session. So the next item on the agenda is, well, there's no notice of motion, so the next item on the agenda is the adjournment for this evening. So I'll need a mover and a seconder for that. So Councillor Shipman, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Cross, can you second it, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Shipman, seconded by Councillor Cross, that this special meeting of the council now be adjourned at 9:13 p.m. Is there any discussion? Councillor Cross.
No discussion.
Councillor Shipman.
No discussion.
Okay. Before we take a vote, I just want to say thanks again to all the candidates for coming tonight and sharing their wealth of knowledge with us. Okay. So I'm going to call for a vote on adjourning the meeting at this time. So Councillor Cross, do you vote to adjourn the meeting at this time? Yes or no?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And Councillor Shipman, do you vote to adjourn the meeting at this time?
Yes.
And I do as well. So the meeting is adjourned. So have a safe rest of the week and enjoy the weekend, and everybody be safe out there. Okay?
Welcome
Mayor
aboard, Kim and Bert.
Mayor Pannell,
Welcome aboard.
well, thank you. Now that the meeting is over, can I ask a question? Would it be possible that the two new councillors may participate in the discussion about the strategic plan, similar to what you decided for the property standards? Because maybe we do have some things to contribute in the strategic plan.
The next regular meeting is when we're going to bring the strategic plan forward. You will be councillors at that time. Okay.
Okay.
If there is any discussion, you'll be able to participate in that discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Well, it does answer my question, but
Okay.
yeah. Okay. It would be an approval of the draft strategic plan
Yes.
to make it a final.
We're still going to have discussion on it.
Would it be in two readings or in one reading? In one session or in two sessions?
It's a bylaw, it'll probably be 2 readings.
2 readings, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
That
Good
answers.
night.
Okay, good night.
Sleep well.
Well,
Good night. Congratulations.
thank you.
You. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.